Okay. So drone equipment and maintenance. So we have talked about this yesterday about the drone components and all the things. So as we fly as a pilot, as a responsible person who is doing the operation activity of our drones, we are supposed to maintain, do the, like normally when we are driving a car, if we intend to do a long distance drive, let's say I want to go from Mumbai to Lonavala or any far location, I'm driving more than 100, 200 kilometers. So I'll always check whether I have a good tire pressure. Like I'll go to petrol pump, I'll fill the petrol, I will check the tire pressure, make sure the tire pressure. I'll check whether there is a water in the radiator or not. So that's how we are maintaining it to be safe operations. Similarly, when we are flying a drone, before actually starting our drone operations, we have to make sure that we are checking the drones, we are making sure that things are proper. Like we'll check landing gear, we'll check the propellers, we'll check the motors, we'll check whether the battery is in proper position, safely tied or not. All those things we'll check. We'll try to move the propeller by hand. Just give a tap on it. Okay, we'll see whether there is a dust or anything like that, whether the propeller is moving smoothly or not. All these basic things we'll check. Okay, when we arm the drone, also we'll check whether the lights things are there, or even on our remote control, we'll see whatever the parameters we need to see whether they are proper, they are showing proper uh, inputs, what is supposed to be there, whatever the standard inputs are there. So that's the important part. So sometimes, a lot of time, people fly the drone, and over the period of time or over the operations, you will see the propellers are being chipped, or motor is not moving properly. Sometimes they need to be little bit put some kind of greasing to it, because there are bearings inside and all that thing. So you probably need to put some, as per the OEM standards, whatever they define, maintenance of the drone required. So we need to maintain those components accordingly. For electronic items, you will not have much of the maintenance part, but for physical things, or the things like frame, landing gear, the arms, the propeller, the motor, these are the important components which you need to observe, see if there is anything unusual or which could cause the effect. Okay. So it is always advised. Regular uses may result in wear and tear of UV, thus require regular maintenance check. So the OEM manual will define like how often, like first, during every flight, before the flight you need to observe. Okay, but for a comprehensive maintenance means a person from the OEM will always have a AMC with the OEM. So every, let's say, 200 flights or 50 hours of flight, you have to do a comprehensive maintenance. That means that engineer will come, he will come and check the drone, whatever necessary. That's what I was telling yesterday, Jagan. I have planned a guy from the OEM also to come and inspect one of my drone. So he's coming there for comprehensive maintenance. So that's why, since you guys are coming for training, I wanted you to see that also. So you will get an opportunity uh, to see when the OEM engineer is coming and he is doing his comprehensive maintenance activity. So this will be one of the good thing for you to see. So after 200 flights, so that drone is the older drone, that drone which we purchased in 2022. So almost after 2 years, more than 2 years, but it was not operational for 2 years. It was lying in Dhule region. I brought it from Dhule to Igatpuri location. Uh, I will show the condition of the propellers also when it was brought to me at Igatpuri. I'll show you those propellers. So I changed all the all the six propellers. All the six propellers were in a chip condition. Okay, so they might have used it and all the things, and then after all the damages and all the things, even the batteries were not in a good condition. So I got new batteries for this drone and all that thing. I reconfigured the complete drone and everything. But I'm facing some problem and drone on the remote control side. So that software is showing me some error, and that's why I have logged the case with my OEM to do both. As since I have taken the AMC, I have renewed the AMC recently. So I want to tell. There are some 3 or 4 visits in my 1 year tenure of ANC. So I said, let me call that guy to do, and even the students will able to see what activity they perform during the comprehensive maintenance part and all that. So that's how I have planned. Your training as well as you get that option of the OEM engineer coming and doing the comprehensive maintenance of that particular drone. Again, during the pre-flight, post-flight checks per flight are also required. So during the flight, also you need to perform, you need to monitor the battery, you need to monitor your altitude, you need to monitor the performance of your drone. A lot of things will be coming on your remote control screen, so you need to keep on monitoring that. Okay. And after you are successfully landing of the drone, first thing you go there, you disarm the drone, and then you check the landing gear. Is there any wear, tear, any nut bolt, screw, anything is loose, anything. So the moment you find anything loose, it will add to the vibration of the drone. It will impact the performance of the drone. So you have to make sure that wherever there are possibilities, you check those points. Okay, whether the drone propellers are tight, whether the landing gear is fixed properly to the frame or a body of a drone. So this is there. So there is a maintenance checklist and manual with the standard operating procedure given by the our OEM. Okay. So what are we supposed to do? So first is the structural inspection, clean the airframe of mud and dirt, inspect the airframe for any kind of cracks, check out for the loose screws, check the propellers for damage, propeller for free spinning. As I said, we just topple and check whether we are moving it or not. Check the motor for debris or any obstructions. Check the state of wiring or soldering joints. Check the gimbal camera lens is clean. Check landing gear condition. Inspect the antenna, the GPS antenna and all that. Check the control station for faulty components. All those things. So these are some structural thing, physical. This is more or less from a physical inspection of the things, okay, on the road. Then you check the battery. So before I connect the battery, I will show you a practical session. We measure the voltage. There is a small voltmeter device is there. You will measure the voltage. You will measure each cell what voltage it is showing, and then you will see the total voltage of that particular battery. So there is certain thing what you have to make sure that this is what is the voltage of my battery. It's written on the battery how much voltage it should show. So you should have that battery. Then only you should able to connect the battery to the drone. And physical part, inspect the charger for visible damage, inspect the battery pack for bulge or leakage. If they are all such kind of thing, you should immediately discard those batteries. Okay. Make sure that you are using a charged battery. Don't use half charged batteries, or if they are not. Sometimes we have a habit, like in torch, when we are using a battery in a torch, or even in the watches, we don't care what battery. As far as it is working, we'll put it. But in a drone, half charge, or those kind of batteries are not supposed. You have to have a full charge when you're connecting a battery to a drone. Make sure you have a full charge battery. That's it. There is no other exception to that. Okay. Again, from the software perspective, make sure your software firmware they are updated. Okay. Update the control software, like if you have running a GCS and all this. So this is what I was talking about. My control software on my remote control, it is giving some error, some library error it is going, and that's why I have logged the case. Because last 2 years that GCS was not updated or not upgraded. So I have called that engineer specifically for that kind of activity. Okay, so I have logged the case so that he comes and checks everything. Okay. Then keep a track of your maintenance reports. Every time the engineer comes who does the maintenance part, you have a document from him what he has checked. So you get it certified that your drone is under a normal condition. They have, as per their standards or their definition, they have verified everything. Okay, like for example, all these things they will perform all these tests. They will check everything. They will check battery. They will check software, everything, and then they will give me the maintenance report. So structural infection you can see here. Over the time, drone will gather layers of dirt from bigger flight transport storage. Battery pack has to be disconnected and drone needs to be powered on. use air. Like sometimes we will use vacuum cleaner or something like that, or even sometimes at a very difficult position where the vacuum uh, cleaner is not able to clean it. So I will use a microfiber cloth or some cloth to remove the dust or something like that. Okay, yeah, or there are brushes also available, or even there are canisters are also available. Air canisters are available where it will put the pressurized air and clean the complex or very difficult location where you are not able to put your hand or anything. Sometimes in the drone motors, when you are spinning with the hand, you will feel that there is little bit dirt or something. So you will normally use isopropyl alcohol. You will put that isopropyl. Sometimes you will remove the motor also and dip that motor into isopropyl solution for maybe for a 1 day or something like that, and then you will test it out on the next day by just powering that motor whether it is moving smoothly or not. So these are the some things what you need to do when you are taking care of your drones. Okay, carefully inspect the airframe for damage. You should perform like if there is a crack or something like that. You make sure that things are being serviced properly. Even the smallest crack can cause a critical problem because there might be like I have seen on Phantom drone. If you have seen the Phantom drone, the landing gear is actually landing gear is a separate component. There are four screws where you can remove those screws and you can replace that. So a lot of time when the as you are landing the drone, it takes a lot of stress. Okay, and over the period of time, at the position of the screw where it is connecting to the frame, there is it start developing a small crack. So over let's say 100 200 landings, you will see that crack becoming very major. So as you see initially you may ignore for initial stage, but if you see a major crack or major defect in the thing, you should replace that landing gear. Okay. Even the smallest crack can cause the critical problem if left unnoticed. During routine maintenance, check each and component carefully, extremely carefully, and make the note of damage you find. So if you find something like I'll tell you in that same drone where we are doing the maintenance, there is some scratch, not crack, scratch on one of my radar, the sensor what I have on a drone. So I have immediately when I saw it, I immediately took the photograph it and I sent it to OEM. So OEM has told me that not to worry about that scratch because that scratch is only on the top of the protective layer. So it is not really impacting your radar performance and this. So you don't need to worry about it as of now. Okay, if we see in future anything problematic or thing, we may have to replace that radar. So as of now, they check the performance of the drone and they find that there is no problem as of now. It is just a patch on the top part or the protective layer of the radar. So it is not really impacting my performance or anything. So that's why you should not ignore. That's what I'm saying. Even a minute, even the smallest crack can cause. So you should not ignore. So moment I find because see my drone is under insurance, my drone is under AMC. Tomorrow OEM should not, as a pilot, they should not hold me accountable that you are the person who is seeing it daily physically. You should have reported this kind of observation. That's why I've immediately taken the photograph and sent it to them. The moment I saw the error on my remote controller, I took the screenshot and then sent it to OEM. So OEM said that okay, we will send an engineer for checking it out and make necessary upgradation if required on the GCS part, and your error will be solved. So you should be responsible. Don't ignore even smaller things. Sometimes a small loose screw, sometimes screw, the threading goes worn out, or sometimes the nut bolt are slippery, become slippery over the period of usage or tightening or loosening of the things. So if you find something like that, you should replace those nut bolts. You should replace those screws with the better and fresher and proper ones. You should not ignore. कि ठीक है चार screw है चार में एक ही only one screw is faulty, three are there. You should not do it. All four are playing their own individual roles. All four should be in a proper condition. Okay? So don't ignore any small See, in aviation, this aviation the maintenance of your aircraft plays a very very important role because when you are flying your aircraft, you are responsible for the aircraft. You are responsible people who are there in back of your fuselage as a passengers. So you are a most responsible person or the most person responsible for the activity of the aircraft. So you should make sure that your drone, your aircraft is being maintained. Maintenance engineer is checking all the things properly, and he is submitting the report. You go through the report, everything properly is done or not done. Okay, if he lot of time, the maintenance engineer will see and he will make a note into it. So then it is a pilot who needs to inform to higher authority. This is what has come up into the maintenance part, and this needs to be rectified before I perform or I intend to do no further operations. Okay, so this is what I will check for the loose screws, double check the fastening bolts, don't over tight. Also, sometimes a lot of people have a habit, tight it, and in that motion they break or they damage the joints, excessive strain on joints, or don't even do even more damage. So you need to apply proper pressure. You can't over tight it or don't try to tight it too much. Okay, whatever is required, only that much you should apply the pressure. A lot of people have habit or ज़्यादा tight करेंगे और ज़्यादा tight करेंगे, but then because of that more pressure to make it tight, you are actually damaging the device. So you should be careful on that part. Okay, propeller, dirty propeller, check propeller, crack propellers. If you find this kind of there, you should immediately change the propellers. Okay. Double check the type of prop while replacing. A lot of time people make mistake. I've seen this when I was in Gurgaon for a training. I've seen one of the engineer has changed the propeller, but he there was a propeller which was supposed to be a clockwise propeller, and he fixed the anti-clockwise propeller, and he just changed the propeller physically. That's it. But next day when the pilot took that drone outside, he took the drone at the launch location. He is supposed to perform the pre-flight checklist. So he performed the flight check. That point in time, he understood, because as I showed you, one direction is in one direction, the second propeller will be in opposite. So he saw the two propellers in the same direction on a hexacopter. That made him understand that there is something wrong. So he called his colleague or a buddy. He mentioned his doubt. Then his buddy also said, yes, this is wrong. Then they reported to their instructor, and then instructor saw that, "Arey, yesterday this drone was there was a call log for this and maintenance." So they called that engineer, asked him what problem you changed. So they called back him again to see and check. So then he admitted that he has done a mistake and all that. So then he replaced with a new problem. So imagine if the pilot would have not done the pre-flight check or anything like that, and they would have ignored it, and if they would have tried to fly the drone, that drone would have not flown properly. There would be definitely some performance issue, or there could be some accident or incident with that drone also, because that drone will not be able to generate a proper thrust at that part, and it will be would have either toppled or there could be some issue and all that. So performance definitely would have, or a major issue could have. So the last part it says check for the smooth spinning of each propeller. That's what I said. When you're doing it, before you powering your drone, you just turn the propeller with your hand. Just give a turn, just to see whether it is moving. There is no noise. It is smoothly moving. All that things you need to check. This is more from drones which are, it's like, say, for example, you have open drones or build yourself a drone or something like that. So check anywhere if you see exposed to the wiring, wear out, open the chassis, inspect the internal wiring, any loose soldering is there or not. Make sure you are compiling with the unit manual before performing any repair. Like if you are trying, if you are authorized to do any repair. Let's say tomorrow the motor has gone faulty. One of the four motors or six motors, one motor goes faulty, and you are authorized to do these changes. then you should make sure they are following the standard procedures defined in the manual for changing or doing any kind of repairs. If you are not authorized, you should always log a case with the OEM. The person from the OEM will come and do the necessary things. Okay, don't take things in your hand and try to, like, you don't try to change the carburetor of your car or bike yourself. You might do some more minor changes, but not the major part of the engine. Or you always take it to the garage or to the servicing person, right? Expert. You always take it to the expert or who is intent to do these kind of things. As we said, check the motor for debris or any kind of obstructions. If you want to clean it, use isopropyl solution, alcohol, or you spray that pressurized canister, clean the dirt from those locations also. It is not advisable until unless you are skilled or authorized to do these activities. Okay. See, even the lens, the unit camera is clean. Make sure you're doing it. See, this is what I was talking about. You see the landing gear, they have a spring-loaded kind of thing also. So it takes that bump. So you make sure that spring or shock absorbers are intact. The functioning of the spring is also proper for the take that bump and all. If some spring has become hard or it is not functioning as proper, so the bump will impact the other part and it may cause a structural damage to the drone. Okay. Again, your antennas, your remote control or the ground station, you just make sure the antennas in proper position. They are connected properly. They are put properly. You know, folding while fold of the antenna when not in use. But a lot of people, when they are flying the drone, they don't open the antenna. They just keep it like that, assuming that it will work. But no, when you're flying, you have to make sure your drone, your antenna are extended, they are in the right position and everything. Same goes for the ground control station also. Chassis, everything you need to see, extend the range. Like there will be antennas on the top or the of the of the suitcase or the chassis. Extend those antennas on top, and then you start your function. Don't assume that it will take the signal or something. So if they are supposed to be extended, they are supposed to be extended. You can't assume that even in a folded position they will perform. Okay. Battery, as we talk about the battery, take the docking station, the connectors. Lot of time the oxidization happens. हम लोग चार्जिंग करने के लिए लगाते हैं तो कभी कभी वो कनेक्टर्स जो रहते हैं वो ऑक्सीडाइज हुआ रहता है ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम डिपेंड्स अपॉन what location, what area you are. So you will always ignore that, and your battery will not charge on a time. Yes, Pranay.
मी काय म्हणतो तुम्ही स्क्रीन शेअर केलेत का?
Screen?
म्हणजे स्लाइड्स दाखवतायत का तुम्ही?
I'm showing the slide.
Yes,
नाही दिसत नाहीयेत.
yes, yeah, I can see, I can see.
मी कॉल कट करून परत रिजॉईन करतो मग.
चालेल चालेल. You can see now, or you want me to?
येस सर, येस सर, येस सर, येस.
I think it was some problem at your end. Okay. So when you are make sure that your battery plays a very important role because that's the powerhouse of your drone. So when you are charging the batteries, you must check the connectors. Normally, these are very good quality, very high standard connectors are there, but sometimes because of the type of the air and moisturizer and all the things, those connectors lot of time become oxidized. Okay, and there is a layer formed on it. So we need to clean that with a proper device. Sometimes we need to scrap it, or sometimes we need to clean it with isopropyl alcohol, with a cotton and everything, so that they are clean and they are making very proper contact during the charging point or at the when they have been connected to the drone. Okay, so you make sure visually check those. Most of them they are in a they have a coating, insulation coating kind of, not insulation but coating of a very high standard so that it doesn't easily get oxidized. But still you are responsible to check the physically or visible damage or anything wrong. Make sure that batteries are not blown up or kind of thing, or they are in a very unusual conditions kind of thing. Okay, so bulge, you should make sure that they are not bulge, deform kind of thing. If there is a leakage and things, so you should discard this kind of batteries. You should not use those kind of batteries at input time. Replace the damaged batteries if necessary. The voltage should not have a difference of point 0.2 volts. So that's what I'm saying. When we are actually before we connecting the drones, all the voltages on all the cells should or more or less should show same. There should not be a like if it is showing 2.4 and if it is one is showing 2, you can't have that difference. Point 2 is acceptable, like 2.4, 2.2, 2.6 within that range of point 0.2 difference is acceptable. But if you see the one battery is showing 2.6, another is showing 2.4, another is showing 2.2, that is not acceptable. So all the six cells, whatever you have, you should have an average difference of point 0.2. Because if you see the first is showing 2.6, but the third one is showing 2.2. So difference between these two cells is zero point 0.4, not zero point 0.2. So if you see the average, you should see that it is at very standard. So difference between all the six cells or four cells, the difference should not be less than, more than 2.2 volt. Okay, if it is that way, you should recharge your battery or check your battery. Sometimes in a six cell battery, one cell sometimes get faulty. So that your battery is faulty. You should send it back to your OEM if possible. They will do the maintenance of that battery. They will replace that particular cell and send it back to you also. Okay, or they will say we will give you the replacement for this battery. Okay, something like that. So you should not ignore these small things as a responsible drone pilot. Though this looks very small things, but in a long run these are very important. Okay? If you find consistently there is a difference between the voltage between the cells, you should ideally discard or send it back to OEM if it is under warranty. Okay, software and firmware update the drone firmware periodically. As of now, since our drones are type certified, the DGCA has clearly said whatever the drone is being certified for that particular firmware, you should make sure that your drone is at that certified firmware only. Even though there is an update or anything, you should not update. Okay, that update, if it is really necessary, the OEM will take the necessary permission from the DPC and then they will tell that we need to upgrade your drone firmware or not. Okay, if it is not mandatory or not required, they will never suggest you to upgrade the drone firmware. Okay, this is only applicable. Like for example, you are having a DJI or any third party OEMs. I'm talking about other drones apart from DGCA type certified drones. Let's say you have a Mavic or anything. The DJI would suggest you to upgrade the firmware. So in that scenario, you should upgrade. Okay, so it depends upon what drones you are using for your operations. Because DJI will always tell that you need, there is instruction given on our website. For this particular model, there is an updated version of firmware or software is available, and you need to upgrade before your next operations. So you should update that. But in a type certified, DGCI type certified, they have clearly maintained that until and unless it is required and OEM suggests to upgrade the firmware, then only it should be upgraded. If OEM is not required, and that also they have to in backend, they have to take the confirmation from DGCA because on that particular firmware or software, the drone is been given a type certificate. So when you see the drone type certificate, they mention what version of the firmware or what version of the software it is with certified. So you can't change that version of that software. Or you can't upgrade the change in the firmware. Okay. So refer the manual to know the model specific methods if you want to upgrade in case of any drone you require. Okay. Lot of time your GCS software will prompt you to upgrade. So don't ignore these kind of updates or something if you are using any third party GCS software and updates. So schedule the servicing for airframe, propellers, motors, gimbal, landing gear, and camera. So you should always, schedule. Like airframe is a major component of drone following the component to be removed before servicing. So remove all the screws, take the underside of the frame component, detach non-solder wires, and all this. Reassemble with the new frames. Like if your frame is having a faulty, lot of time frame gets damaged or something, arm gets broken or something. So at that point in time, you should service that properly, by removing everything properly and all that. Propellers, like I said, my all the six propellers has gone faulty or got chipped. Okay, I have kept those propellers at our trading location just to show to my students, like see how the damaged propeller looks and all that. So I've kept when you come for a training, I will show those propellers to you also. Okay, so make sure that you shut down, power down the drone, disconnect the battery, be sure all the motors are run down completely, remove the propellers. So removing the propellers, there is a special tool is required, that Allen key is required. It's called Allen key. So you remove using the Allen key, or there is a spanner required for it. You remove it in properly. Fix the same type of propeller. A lot of time people make mistakes, like let's say my drone is supposed to have a 18-inch propeller. Some people try, okay, 18-inch not available, let me put 12-inch. So that is not recommended. That is not right. If you have all 18-inch, you have to have all 18-inch. Now, if this drone is certified, type certified for 18-inch propeller, you can't change 18-inch to 16-inch or 24-inch kind of thing. If it is 18-inch, it has to be 18-inch only. You can't change the propellers as per your wish. Okay, you thought that now let me put 12-inch small propellers. You can't do it because it will not generate that much thrust on that particular drone. Okay, so whatever is being specified, whatever is recommended for that particular drone, those only devices or those only certified things you need to make changes. Okay. Like again, motors. Lot of time, some motor is not available. That particular motor is not available at that point in time. I will use a different motor. So you can't do that. Even with the same rating, same specification, you should not. Like for example, your drone is having hobby wing motor. Okay, all six motors are from hobby wing vendor, and that motor, let's say one motor got faulty, and hobby wing says that that motor will be available after 15 days. You immediately try to see if there is a motor available, that same motor available from any other vendor locally, and you find that there is no other vendor also is having that same motor. You saw that similar specification, there is a motor available from T motor. There is another vendor called T motor. Okay, so even though it is all same specification, you should not use it, because we do not know, though the specification are very very basic terminology. There are a lot of other things goes into the picture. Okay, with respect to the dimensions, with respect to the way the motor is completely designed. So you should never use any other replacement for your devices. If it is hobby wing motor, you have to replace with hobby wing. There is no exception to that. Okay, I'm just giving an example to make you understand how you take the decision. A lot of time, your drone, as I was giving example of the battery. Okay, a lot of time, these type certified drones are also certified for the particular batteries only. So they give you performance with respect to that battery only. So a lot of people think, "Arey, I have a 5000 mAh ka battery. This battery is costing me approximately 20,000 rupees. Whereas from a different vendor, the same battery of 5000 mAh, I'm getting it in 10,000, half the price. So people will always, try to use this kind of jugglery over there. They will try to use that. Oh, I'm saving money over there, but you are only taking a chance. You should always consult the OEM. Okay, you can always cross question the OEM. You say same MH battery, I am getting outside in 10,000, whereas whatever the same mAh battery you are giving me 20,000 rupees. Why this difference is there? Okay, then they might come back and tell you the reason. What is the difference? The type of there could be a very cheap. That why that the difference is there in the cost, because they might, the value might be 5,000 mAh, but they might, the component what they are using inside the battery, the cells what they are made of it, they might be of very low standards or low quality kind, or the composition of that battery, way the battery is being made, maybe at a very low standard kind. Okay, that's why the cost would, they may not be paying attention on the quality of that battery also. So that's why, so over the period you might think I am saving here 10,000, but that same battery, the OEM battery what you originally purchased might give you a life cycle of, let's say, 200 life cycle, whereas this battery will only give you 100 life cycle. So after 100 cycle that battery will be useless, you will have to buy another battery again. So whatever you are going to get with the OEM battery for 2000 200 life cycles, here you are only getting 100. So again you are, after 100 you have to purchase another 1000 rupees another 10,000 ka battery. So you are wasting money again over there, right? So you have to be judgmental where what I can do. Like I gave you example yesterday about the small drone where I can rather purchasing that battery of what was the value? Let me read for you. It was 380. Okay, 380 volts, 3.8 volts battery was costing me something around 600 rupees or something, 600 700 rupees something. If I want to buy it from the vendor, then I opened that battery because I saw anyway my drone is down. I wanted to see. I want to just experiment. So I opened that battery. I saw, and I saw the specification. Same different types, two three batteries. I purchased two three batteries. See, I bought two three batteries of same specification just to check. Okay, this I was just trying to experiment. I can afford to do that on a small drone. So that's why I just said let me try. So I purchased that small, and that battery was just costing me 150 rupees. Okay, so I purchased two, three different from different portals. I bought one battery, two batteries from one portal. I bought two from another. I said let me, because anyway I want to change and test it out. So I purchased and replaced the battery successfully. I got better performance. It sometimes because of the OEM and their manufacturing, sometimes because of the cost goes high, but inside the component is sometimes same. So you should be judgmentable where you can take a option, alternate option where you should not take. Like in type certified drone, I cannot afford to do it, though it may give me option of saving money or something like that. But in type certification, since it is governed under a certification, I have to follow under their manuals or their SOPs. Whereas like drones, which I purchase anywhere from any shop or something like that, or DJI drone or Parrot drone or anything, any other third party drone, small drones I'm purchasing, I can try to take a chance into that. Okay. Gimbal. A lot of time when we add a payload to it, so make sure the gimbal, before flying the drone, we check the gimbal motions, positions, movements, all that things. We'll check it out properly. We'll check the device payload also, whether it is functioning, taking the photographs, whether it is charged properly or not. So all these things we need to service before we intend to do the operation. So assemble the system, check for stabilization, pan tilt motions, and video output. You check once you have done any replacement of gimbal or your payload on anything. Okay. So that a lot of things needs to be done. Alignment is needs to be done. Okay, because the moment you give the control from your remote control, the gimbal may not be moving in a proper direction. So you will lose your footage, or you will lose your precious time. Again, you have to land a drone, check what is happening. So before operations, you need to do all these things. Calibration of your gimbal and all that things. You should check whether you are able to take the photograph, and then only you should fly your drone uh, for proper operations. This is one of the most important. Wherever you have a movable landing gears, okay, sometimes the landing gears get retracted or they get folded when they are in operation. So that point in time, you should always make sure that properly landing gear is functioning. they are been greased or oiled properly. If they are in if they are fixed landing gears, make sure that they do not have a cracks or anything like that. If you required to change of the landing gear, you should change the gear during the landing position. Sometimes your landing gear gets broke, and since you have a payload connected below the frame, if imagine if your landing gear breaks, what will happen? It will impact the your expensive payload. It may damage your camera, it may damage your gimbal. So landing gear is much cheaper compared to your payloads. So don't think that okay, I mean, why should I change it? But sometimes because of the landing gear, people have got their payloads got damaged and all that. Okay. So don't take these small things. Though the landing gear role is only during the landing part or when it is just on the ground. It plays a very important role overall from a structure perspective. In the camera also, a lot of time we need to, if sometimes FPV cameras are there, so if there is required, you are not able to see it properly, your lens over the period of time, the lens will have what we call some fogginess into it, or sometimes moisture is accumulated inside it. So if you need to clean it, if you are able to clean it, you get it clean, or you may have to remove the camera and give it to the camera servicing person to service your camera and all that things. So they will open the camera because camera has a very delicate parts and all that thing. So you know, if there is anything inside the camera or over the lens, they will clean it as per their procedure. Don't try to you yourself try to clean it. Okay? And then only you should put it back if you have things properly. Okay? And then before the operation, you again check the camera also off, whether it's taking proper photographs are coming properly or not, videos are coming properly or not. All that thing before the operations, to make sure that you are checking it everything. Lot of it times what happens, there is a cap on the camera. Normal when you're not flying, you just put a cap just to prevent accidentally your lens getting damaged or something. A lot of so people forget to remove that cap also sometimes. Okay, and they fly the drone, and then when they intend to take the photograph and anything, they saw that they are not seeing anything. So sometimes they're not able to figure. They thought there is some problem in the remote control or something, and then later on they realize, oh, I forgot to remove the lens cap. So they have to again bring the drone down, remove the landscape, and again resume their operation. You need to see all these things properly. So with this, we complete our drone maintenance. You have any questions on drone equipment and maintenance part?
So mostly, if I mean the maintenance thing,
Hmm.
the mostly the brands that we have in India and the spare parts that we get in India,
Hmm.
the OEMs are in India. That servicing or maintenance can be done from the OEM guys.
Correct.
And if it's in a DJI case, we have to do ourselves.
Right.
Okay.
Because you do not have a service center. I mean, there are local people who are available who are repairing the DJI drones and servicing and all that things. If you have in your location, you can get it done. They will definitely charge you something around it, or else you have to do it on your own.
So, what is the recommendation that you give to the guys who have a drone? I mean, drone. I mean, these are the basic
Yeah,
maintenance
if you
that
have a drone, if
you
you
can
have a
do.
drone, minor things like I would say, you want to replace your propellers, you want to replace your landing gear, you can do it on your own. But if there is a problem internal, like your motor is not moving properly, so you should always take it to the technician because
Okay.
they do it much better. Because you have to open the canopy
Housing. Yeah.
of housing of the drone. Then only you will able to replace. You can't replace the motor from the top because motor is fixed inside on the PCB. There is a screws inside, so you have to open the chassis, remove the PCB, and below there are screws which you need to remove the motor in
Okay.
DG. Okay. You manually from before actually dismantling anything drone, you can change the landing gear, you can change the propellers. All these things you can change on your own, but some components where you need sometimes you might see a drone, the connector inside where the battery is connecting, sometimes they get oxidized. Okay, or sometimes you might have kept the drone with the motor inside, sorry, with the battery inside. So long period, like almost 2 months, 3 months, you should not never keep a drone with the battery inside. Okay,
Okay.
because over the period of time, because of the atmosphere, air, and all things, sometimes even battery get leaked. So it will damage those connectors. It will damage those connectors. Okay, so if you are not using the drone for a longer period, you should remove the battery. So sometimes the people give you a dummy battery case kind of thing. So you remove the actual battery and you just to fill that part, that place, you just empty, like it's just a dummy kind of. You just put that dummy part into that drone, in the drone, and your actual battery you put it into your charging box or charging where you keep all the batteries. That gives you the case to keep safeguard your battery. Even when you're keeping your batteries, you need to see if you're not using them, you can't keep the charge battery like this. So that will also reduce the performance of your battery or your life cycle of your battery. So when you're storing the battery, you have to store the battery at a store voltage, or a, what we call, or normally when you have to put the voltage at a certain level and keep store voltage kind of thing, what we call. So you
Okay. Okay.
you have to set that voltage for that battery at that. You cannot keep the full charge battery and keep it for 2 months and you assume that after 2 months I will remove the battery and I will use it. That time you will see that lot of, you might have seen the mobile batteries, like a lot of time we buy some spare batteries of mobile and we keep it like that. But over the period of time, you see that either they become bulged or they all of a sudden they will become it. Okay, so you can't store the battery like that. Either you have to discharge them completely, or there has to be some discharge voltage or store voltage is there. At that voltage, you have to set it and keep it. But again, that is not endlessly. That is, they are also specified in that voltage. You can only keep battery for, let's say, 2 months, 3 months period, or 1 week, 2 week, whatever they have specified. As per that standard, only you can keep it.
See, in India, as you said earlier, the most of us, I mean, in India, they manufacture all the parts of drone except the flight controller, right? The flight controller chip. So if I'm a manufacturer and I assemble a drone, in that assemble I manufacture a frame and I assemble it, and I bought a flight controller from China or Taiwan or somewhere, and I have some fault. I mean, if I have a issue in the flight controller configuration or something,
Hmm.
I mean, the software that I use to configure the flight controller, it is something standard, or all the flight controllers have their dedicated software.
So it depends upon what flight controller. See, every flight controller will have its own software. Okay,
Okay,
will have its own firmware. Okay,
they have its own
yeah,
software.
I'll show you. Hold on. Here now we are seeing Pixopt Cube, orange flight controller. If we go to specifications, they have written somewhere what version it is. Okay. See, now this flight controller already has this capacity, but you are not put the sensor. Okay, or maybe having the sensor, but you are not activated it. Okay, ADS, what I was talking yesterday. Hold on, let me show you the version. Somewhere they have written the version on it. Yes, supported firmware Arduino Galaxy.
It's a version of
Firmware that for that particular, what software Arduino Pilot is a software which will function for this particular.
okay, okay, okay.
firmware. So its supported firmware is Arduino Pilot Pix 4, or you can use some other. I don't know what is this. Let me check for me also. Ineos. Normally people will use Pix 4 only. So this is a different people who are giving the firmwares. European regulations. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. They are saying that if you purchase this, you can use Pix 4 or this firmware.
Okay.
Okay. So either of these two you can install on that. Now you see your sensors also like triple IMU sensors. See there is so much redundancy is there. Triple redundancy for power. Okay. So that's how they build the ABS molding carrier board chassis material whatever CNC.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's why these are expensive.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
almost 33,000 plus GST.
And yeah, and how you manage the bulged or scrapping? I mean, how you manage this batteries? So
You
which
give it
are
back to OEM. Give it back to OEM.
okay.
So when you're purchasing the new battery, you ask him that you take your old battery back.
Okay.
You see, I am having a battery which is like see bulge.
Mhm.
Can you
Mhm.
hear? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a small battery. Uh, it has got bulge. It's all of on its own. I mean, this is not a used battery. Yeah? This is just I brought it and kept it. It's there with me for almost now 6 months.
Okay.
Just by keeping it has become bulge.
Okay.
Okay, that's why see, lot of time what happens, today you manufacture the battery and it's a new battery, okay, and the cost of that battery is assume 2,000 rupees, and you don't sell it, okay, your battery doesn't get sold, okay, for let's say 6 months. So over the period of time, that battery will lose its value. And
Yeah.
lot of time, this vendor, what they will do, they because they know that this battery is depleted battery and or lose its value, so they will give you on a discounted rate. So at the
Mhm.
end of the day, we will become ourselves fool, okay, by purchasing this kind of battery, and in next 2 months or that battery will become of no use. Again, I will go and so a lot of time we make mistakes. A lot of people take advantage because a lot of normal us as we do not like. Take example of your mobile. Lot of time when we face a problem with the battery, we go to the shop. The shopkeeper will give, okay, this is original battery at 2,000 rupees, but you have a different battery from other vendor who is giving you at let's say 1,200. So what immediately your come mind, "Arey, what like unless is spending 2,000 rupees, 1,200 ka dalta hu, I'll put a 1,200 ka battery and but over the period of time, you will assume that after 2 3 months you will, and then that same vendor will, or you may not go to that same vendor. You may go to some other shop or some other place, and then that guy, अरे ये तो आपने सस्ता वाला battery डाला है, something like that he would tell. You should always use the original battery. So original battery from the OEM, though sometimes it may be expensive, but there is a reason for it. They are certifying it. They are giving you warranty. So if within 2 months that battery fails, they will give you a complete new battery replacement for it. So that's how you are managing your cost. See, imagine 1,200, you spend 1,200, again you are intent to spend 1,200. So how much you actually spend? 2,400 instead of 2,000. Right? So you are again at loss. It's better you would have purchased the 2,000 wala battery. Na?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
सर मी काय म्हणतोय,
Hmm.
आपण ज्यावेळेस प्रॅक्टिकल आपण करणार, तर त्यावेळेस आम्हाला शिकवलं जाणार का, म्हणजे प्रोपेलर कसे चेंज करायचे, किंवा म्हणजे ऍक्च्युली आम्हाला फिट वगैरे करायला शिकवणार?
आपण बघू एखादा we will see one more. It's not very difficult. I will show you. I will show you. जो
ओके
आपण
ओके
that's why I am telling you that this time you have an opportunity. The servicing guy is coming, so we may ask him to show us. Can you remove one proper, or even we can do it. Not a problem. Okay. So वो कर सकते हैं अपन, कोई problem. We can remove the
ओके
proper, put it back. Okay. कोई इसमें issue नहीं. That we can do it. Okay. So, Jagan, before I move to the next topic, as we spoke yesterday evening, right, about practical training,
Yeah, yeah.
I think you had some challenge getting the leave and something like that, right?
Yes, yes.
On that.
Mostly because earlier last week when we had a call,
Mm-hmm.
so there was a discussion with my colleagues. I mean, my seniors. So where, so where depends on the Sunday. So I said right there was a demo. According to that, I may get the Monday and Tuesday leave.
Correct.
So since I got a little lenient leave, so I got a leave on Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
But this Friday I have another demo, and that is very important, and
Okay.
that is a physically I have to present.
Yeah, yeah. So we were discussing. I was talking to Pranay also about this.
Mm.
So I mean, we were discussing that rather going tomorrow. What we planned is that can we plan something on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
10, 11, 12th.
10, 11, 12, because he has an activity on the weekend also, and then he has an activity on 13th also. So he said it will be good if you both and myself, and then I will reschedule because I have scheduled the engineer on 6th. I will ask him to come on first day is our anyway our simulator activity and all that thing. So we will spend our time on simulator and all things. And 11th and 12th is our actually flying time. So that point in time, the engineer will come and he will do his part. He will also fly the drone. If required, if drone needs to be calibrated, he will show us also how the drone to be calibrated and all that thing. So if that is done, so it will be good experience and learning.
Yes, yes, yes.
What are you saying? 11, 12, 13?
Yeah, not 13.
No, no,
11,
10th, 11, 12th.
10, 11, 12.
11 and 12, only 2 days, right?
3 days, 3 days. 3 days, it will be 3 days. 10, 11, 12.
Okay, okay. 10, 11, 12. Okay, okay, okay.
Monday, Wednesday,
Monday,
Thursday.
no, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay.
3 days continuous. So
Yes, yes.
we'll reach the site on Monday. We'll have one day's Monday, then we'll have Tuesday, and Wednesday we'll check out.
Okay, okay.
That will be much better for everybody of us. So if you are okay with this, then I will put up a plan accordingly like that. Because I need to intimate to the people for booking the rooms and everything. So you need to do the payment and all the things to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what do you suggest? I mean, if you're okay, you confirm me by the end of the day. I mean, this is what I propose.
I mean,
Pranay,
just
Pranay is okay with that. So you
okay.
just
I mean, just my thought.
uh,
Uh, I mean, it's your decision. Just my thought.
uh,
12, 13, 14. How will that work? I mean, if not, any other schedule is disturbing you.
12, 13, 14. But
Yeah.
actually, I have something planned on 14.
I
Okay.
have also.
Valentine Day is there.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
So actually, I am going out on 13th itself.
Okay. Fine then. So I'll let you know because it will. I think it will work for me.
Yeah.
But still,
So
so
since
give
you
me
you
just.
have already activity on 7th, right? You said you have
Yes.
activity.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think I mean, we'll skip this week, okay, travel,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
let's plan for 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay. Okay. Fine then. We'll
Right?
do that.
So you check and let me know by end of the day. So I'll
Yeah.
make
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
arrangement accordingly.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So let's move to the new next topic. What is now left for us to do? So we completed weather and meteorology. We completed drone equipment maintenance. So let's go with the risk part. Okay, this is also an important topic. You don't have much. This is more from perspective. This topic we'll be discussing during our. I will give you one document also that point in time, uh, which is called risk assessment document. Okay, which will give you different scenarios and what you need to do in that scenarios. Okay. So risk assessment and analysis from a safety management, threat and error management. Okay. This is what the name is given by DJCA. So this is not really an elaborated risk assessment or analysis, but from a perspective, whatever drone might get challenges or the risk. So first, let's understand what is the risk. It is a process of assessing the risk of people's safety and health from the workplace hazards. Okay, so what is hazard? Hazard is nothing but source, situation, or act with a potential for a harm in a term of human injury or ill health or damage to a property or a combination of these. For example, how do I give an example of hazard? If the lion is out of the cage, then it is hazardous, right? It's very challenging for everybody. So lion has to be in a cage or has to be in a place where it is not causing any injury to humans or people or a property or anything like that. Whereas, what is the risk? Risk is nothing but combination of likelihood of an occurrence of hazardous event or exposure and the severity of energy or injury or ill health that can caused by event of exposure. Okay, that's how it's a little bit to understand this terminology is little bit difficult, but from a example perspective, you think risk could be something like, for example, I am staying in a flat. I purchase a flat. You know, when you purchase a flat, your balconies will be like an open balcony. So every time it is a risk for me. So I know by keeping a balcony, open balcony, it's a risk for me. You know, a small kid could fall down, or somebody even elderly person can fall down from the balcony or something. So that's the risk. You anticipate that is a risk. So what you do? How do you? So you cannot zero the. You can't put a wall over there. You need to have a balcony, right? So what you will do? You will put a grill. That's how you will mitigate that risk, or you will reduce the risk. So chances of falling down is completely almost zero over that point, right? That's how you reduce the risk or mitigate the risk. So you need to see how you can act. Like for example, uh, uh, you have a risk when you're flying a drone. Okay, you know there is a risk when you're flying the drone. You may crash your drone. You may crash your drone on somebody's property, or you may crash your drone on somebody person also. So how do you that risk can you reduce? Can you make that risk zero? Yes, Pranay, Jagan. Can you make that risk zero?
No.
You can't know, right? If you want to make zero that risk means what you need to do? You don't need to fly the drone,
Yes.
which is not possible. Okay? I am doing aerial photography, I am doing surveying, whatever it is. I need to fly the drone. So what will I do is, how will I minimize the risk? I will minimize the risk by taking the insurance. Okay, I will, this is nothing but you are transferring the risk from on your own. You are transferring that risk to insurance company. But because you have taken insurance, that doesn't mean that you can crash the drone. Okay, you still need to fly your drone with, because insurance company will ask all things of inputs. How did really the issue had happened or the incident happened and all that. So they will go to that extent and they will find out whether it was really not an error of a person. You might have purposely crashed the drone and you can't claim it to the insurance company, right? They will ask you the evidence, why and what and happened, and they will put their experts and try to find out, because they are also running a company. They don't want to give you the risk factor to you, what we call that compensation. So they will always see, like for example, we buy the mediclaim policies, right? That's where we are, as we go older, we are bound to have some kind of injury, some kind of a disease, some kind of thing. So to mitigate those expenses, what we do is we pay a minimum premium and we make sure that we are covered under the insurance. But when, let's say, we fall ill or something happens to us and we go to the hospital, we do the hospitalization and all the things, and after we are treated and come back, we'll claim all those bills. So insurance company doesn't just simply give you the compensation. They will validate from their side whether this is a genuine thing case or not, or whether this is a proper this thing. So they will have their auditors who will visit the hospital, whether you was really admitted to that hospital or not. They will diagnose, check it from their end also. Without you knowing it, huh? You will not know this part. So they will send their auditor. Auditor will go sit with their people, check the genuine report. They will make question. So it depends upon how much compensation you are demanding. If it is a small let's say for you are covered for a risk of 10 lakh rupees, and you are asking for a small hospitalization uh, over the period time, and it is just like say 20,000 rupees, 25,000. In that scenario, they may not really question. Okay, they might do a small audit and then they might compensate you back. But if you have put a compensation for let's say 2 lakh rupees or 4 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, okay, in that scenario, definitely they will send an auditor. They will try to scrutinize when was you admitted, what was your reports. So that auditor is actually like a doctor only. From a medical perspective, he will audit. So same thing goes here also. So you can't just mitigate the risk by taking the insurance, or you will say, okay, I crashed a drone and you compensate me. No, it will not. So even though you have covered under the insurance, you still have to follow all the procedures of the safety and security, and you fly your drone properly. Okay. So now, what is emergency situation? Emergency situation is nothing but a immediate risk to the health, life, property, or environment. Unforeseen combination of circumstances or resulting state that call for immediate action. That's the emergency. Like a lot of times, fire happens in the building, or sometimes something happens where all of a sudden you didn't anticipate such good thing would happen at that point in time. All of a sudden, the rain started coming up. So those are like emergency situations where you do not have any control over it, or you didn't anticipate those kind of problems. Okay, so that is emergency. So what kind of emergency could be? Fire. It could be medical. It could be environmental. It may be because of human. All of a sudden, your aircraft is taken by terrorists. That's the emergency. Okay, or sometimes your technical problems, hardware or software, like your. I will tell you example from the aviation perspective. Let's say one of the aircraft, one engine got faulty. There are two engines on the aircraft, and one of the engine got faulty. So that's the emergency situation. So pilot will try to diagnose. He will try to put off that engine in. On a single engine, he will try to fly the airplane. Okay, on a single engine, also aeroplane can be flown. Okay, so he'll shut down. If there is a fire in that engine, that's an emergency situation. So he'll put off the engine for some period, and again he will try to start it. He will see whether that engine is coming up or not without the fire or something like that. If it is not coming up, or it is generating again the fire, he may again shut down that engine, and then he will fly on a single engine. He will try to locate the nearest airport because he need to take a call whether that the plane needs to be landed nearby, or whether he can continue uh, on his flight path or not on a single plane. So all that judgmental decisions he needs to take, and accordingly he used to act. Okay, so emergencies can be reduced or mitigated by preparing an emergency plan. So you always have a plan. Like I will tell you, like when the aeroplane is running on a runway, okay, uh, it is running on the runway and it's supposed to take off. Okay, I'm just giving an example. So as it's running on the runway, if you hear the cockpit conversation, you will see that in between, at the end of the runway, before the end of the runway, when they are supposed to take off, the one of the whosoever is controlling the aeroplane, either pilot or a co-pilot, who is supposed to give the throttle, the other person will always tell that we are at V1 position. So what do you mean by V1 position? So V1 position is nothing but a position from where you are supposed to be. There is no turning back, because if you are running, you have to take off. If you have crossed the V1 position, you cannot just runway, because you will get fall down, or you will make hit something boundary of the airport or something like that. So when you cross the V1, you have to give the throttle and you have to take the aircraft in the air. So if you do not do that, you will land into the emergency situation. So for example, let's say when you are planning a flight path, there is a point where you say that whatever the fuel you are carrying, what is the point at which I can come back to the same airport if there is any kind of emergency. If I'm not able to come back to the same airport, I need to see if I cross that point, what is the nearest airports or what are the options I have. So this is how the pilots study the flight plan. Okay, so they have to submit the flight plan before actually flying the plane every time. Even though I am a pilot on Indigo Airlines, I am every day flying my aeroplane from Mumbai to Jaipur or Jaipur to Delhi. On this, every day I am doing this. Okay, last 2 years I am doing same activity. Still, every day I need to submit my flight plan. Okay, though it is same, though since it is I am doing daily that same activity, they it look me same, but still I need to submit that plan on the portal every time. Okay, you can't escape your day-to-day procedures or day-to-day activities. That's how you keep yourself prepared. You can't ignore like okay यार मैंने तो कल किया था ना, why should I do it today, or I did it yesterday, I'm doing it for last every month, every day of my last 2 years I'm doing it, why should I do it now? You can't excuse that. Okay, so that's how you keep yourself prepared for any kind of emergency. I'll tell you, the moment you try to ignore or try to escape these day-to-day activities, that day itself you will have a disaster. Lot of time it has happened like that. Okay, whenever you did everything religiously for, let's say, 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 year, everything was went smooth. The moment you tried to ignore any current, you take things granted or you assume things, nothing will happen. Things will start falling that point in time. So that's why it is always told whatever you are doing, in at least in aviation, these are the best practice. Whatever other industries are following the best practices, all the best practices have come from the aviation industry. Whether it is IT, manufacturing, or anything, all the best practices, all the best processes, all the best procedures, what you see in other industries, they have adopted the SOPs, procedures, process, everything from aviation industry. Okay. So any emergency and emergency plan specifies the procedure for handling sudden or unexpected situations. Okay. So in a why in a mode of transport, there are the four types of mode of transport. In that four type, air aviation, okay, aviation industry or aviation or aircraft, what we flying is supposed to be the safest mode of transport, though there is so much risk involved in it. But still, it is the safest compared to bus, car, train, ship, any kind of thing. Aircraft flying or traveling in an aircraft is always considered to be the safest because they have all sorts of redundancy built into it, and they take almost all precautions to handle the sudden or any unexpected situation. That doesn't mean that you don't have accidents or you do not have mishaps or anything, but still you have an option. All best of the best options are available to safeguard yourself in the aircraft. Okay. So what are the different types of emergency? One is the loss of communication or a control link. So what is the possible effect? The RPAS may crash into one or the more buildings. Okay. What you should do is, in such scenario, if you are lost in a communication happens, if your remote controller is not able to communicate properly with your this thing, see whether you can trigger the return to home. Okay. Or let's say you lose the control, what will happen? Let's assume, let's take an example. You lose complete control. You are trying to do almost all things. You're trying to give throttle. You're trying to control yaw, pitch, whatever. Nothing is happening. What will happen? Your drone will keep on flying. It is without your control. What will happen? It will control. It will keep on flying. Assume it is keep on flying. Okay, you have set, let's say, geofencing. If you have configured RTH over the period of time, if you try to overcross the boundary of geofence, automatically the RTR will trigger. Suppose it is hovering at the same position, it is not crossing anywhere the geofencing. It is just hovering that position. You are not able to control, you are not able to bring your drone down. What will happen over the period of time? Your battery will start reducing the voltage, okay, over the period of time. Let's say 10 minutes ho gaya, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, as Pranay said that his drone is only able to fly 20 minutes. So what will happen? It will start doing. If you have configured RTH that when your battery reaches 80%, you should trigger RTH, irrespective whether I give command or not. So in that scenario, drone on its own will able to take control. So that's why you should always have these safety procedures configured on your drone. So you configure RTH on it. So automatically, even though in not your control, the drone after 20 minutes of flying, it will automatically perform the RTH and your drone will safely land. So that's how you have the contingency plan. Okay. Obstacle resulting in widespread secondary injury or humans from US debris. So that means this is the possible effect. Like assume that drone is not in your control. So what you do not have anything. So FS communication. Communication failsafe feature is available to counter this type of emergency. Like this is one of the options available where if drone comes to know that there is no signal getting received from the remote control or there is no communication happening between the drone and the FS-COM remote control, the FS-COM is configured, failsafe configuration is done in your drone, it will take on its own decision and it will land the drone wherever it is. It will not do RTH also. RTH may be far, like you might have flying a drone, let's say 2 kilometers away. So it will not come back because it doesn't know where it is flying. On its own, it doesn't may not know. There might be some obstacle in between, or something could come out. So sometimes FS communication will normally say that you land the drone wherever it is and at it is. It will land the drone there. So that's how you plan the contingency plans in different scenarios. Like here, it was loss of communication of a loss of communication or control leak. You are not able to control your drone through the remote. Okay. Sometimes, as I said, the example like you are able to do, but because of the all of a sudden heavy wind or something comes up, you know, and your the drone flies beyond, or drone goes beyond because of the it is not able to counter out that pressure of the wind or pressure of that hurricanes or something or gale or kind of thing. Okay, or sometimes loss of GPS signal also. It goes straying, what we call as straying. Okay, so in that scenario, mid-air collision with another manned or unmanned aircraft can happen. It can crash into the building or obstacles. It can crash the debris, injuring people or on the ground, people on the ground. You know, like that could happen. So what we should always have a geofencing enabled, okay, and does not allow pilot to fly outside. That means you intend that example I gave where I crashed my own drone. So that was something unexceptional has happened. But if I would have had a proper geofencing had worked out, my drone may not would have crashed on the tree. We could have easily controlled or it would have gone RTH. Okay, so in that scenario, you should always make sure when you are flying a drone, you are configuring the boundaries, you are enabling the geofencing, you are enabling the loss of your signal in case. So you define the all those parameters what are supposed to be do in your drone. So whenever you are using a drone, try to read the OEM manual as much as possible. Try to see what all each setting means what does it do, how to set up the geofencing, how to set the RTH, how to set the RTI. So all those options you should be knowing before actually flying the. Sometimes all of a sudden you are over the period, like you are using a battery for a very longer period of time. You know, let's say you have your battery capacities of 200 cycles, and you are around somewhere around 150 cycles. So your battery is actually at a depleted state. Okay, so at that point in time, all of a sudden uncontrolled descent could happen. Okay, loss of power. Sometimes battery loses all of a sudden the power. All of a sudden from let's say 25 volts, it comes down to 20 volts. That 5 volt difference was in just a matter of time. So all of a sudden, what will happen? It will lose the control. Uncontrolled, automatically descent will happen. Okay, or sometimes even the below all of a sudden it loses the voltage. That time your drone can simply come down. Chance of mid-air fire. Sometimes battery can also blown up. We have seen in EV vehicles a lot of time battery caught the fire and all that thing because you're flying the drone in a hot condition or maybe flying for a longer period, so your battery gets heat up. And when you're changing the battery, you will see your battery is hot. So when your batteries are hot, you remove the batteries from the drone. You don't put it immediately for charging. You wait for 10 minutes, let it cool it down on its own, and then you connect your batteries for charging. In a hot condition, you should never charge your batteries. Okay, or there is a setting uh, for a battery, like RTH is there, RTL is there, or there is something setting called FS battery. So it is continuously monitoring the battery for fail-safe mode. The feature is available, right? The battery voltage is less than 21.2 volts. Switch automatically your, that is what I'm saying, either 80% or particular voltage level you need to set what level the battery should power. If you reach 21.2 volt of battery, your RTL should get triggered. So that is what you can set in your drone. Okay? So this will be helpful in this condition also. Okay? In this condition also. FS com, that fails communication fail safe, or even you, if assume if this fail safe communication is not happening, even your drone might be continuously flying, but over the period of time the battery is going to reduce its voltage. At the moment it reaches 21.2 of volt, automatically it should trigger the RTL, sorry, RTL. So it will come back to the landing position, a launch position. ARPA's loss of control. Like I do not have any control on it. Okay, undesired flight trajectory. That means it will just go here and there. Okay, it may crash with another ARPAs, or it may crash with the manned aircraft. It may crash with anything comes in path of its flight. Okay, landing can cause serious injury to many person. It depends upon where it is going to crash, or where it is going to fall, or where it is going to land. And based on that, that could be the possible challenges. Okay. So what we need is that we need to have a stabilization and position hold based on GPS, and reduce an uncontrolled action risk. Okay. So sometimes one of the GPS model is, that's why you will see some high quality drones or high end drones. You will have a two GPS. There are different types of GPS also. There are very cheap quality of GPS also. There are very high quality GPS also. So what type of GPS you are using in your drone, that will also depend on the stabilization. A lot of time people use very cheap GPS, and they lose most of the time their position of their drone. They are not able to control the drone properly. If you are losing your GPS, your drone is moving here and there, you should immediately put the drone into manual mode condition, and you should control the drone to uh, land it successfully or recover that drone successfully. Okay. So if it is not managed using the GPS signal and all the things, you should put it in a manual mode and take the drone in your completely under your control, so that it is not controlled by the GPS signal, but it is completely controlled by a pilot. So you might put it on alt mode kind of position, or standard mode position, and manual mode. You take drone, try to land the drone as quickly as possible at that particular. You should not fly the drone when there is a loss of control. You should try to land it safely as quickly as possible. Okay, that's why in an emergency situation, you must have seen a lot of time aircraft. Pilot will always try to land the aircraft at the nearest airport, because that's how they are reducing the risk. They are reducing the possibility of losing the life or losing the aircraft or that, as fast as possible. Whatever, if there is no other options available, if there is a river, if there is a, you must have heard a lot of time, people land on highway also. If there is an empty, or there is an empty space or a ground, some place is there, they will try to land. So when they are planning the flight plan, or they're studying the flight plan, they will see all these options. If there is a river on the path, if there is a big ground or big location, if there is, they will study if there is any obstacles on that flight path. So they will try to avoid those obstacles. Also, if there is a huge mountain, so they will try to find a nearby path which is obstacle free kind of thing. So that's why, as I said, most of them when you take off, like you take off from Kochi and you're going to Mumbai, or you're coming to Mumbai. From Mumbai you're going to Kochi. the path is more or less on the land, sea. Your travel plan is most on the sea. Even going to Delhi also, whatever time you can fly your airplane on the sea, it is always supposed to be a safe, because you will not have any obstacles in that path. Okay? And then it is very easier to land on the sea or on the water compared to on the land. Okay, sometimes unsuccessful landing or flight termination, so vehicle breakup or towing happens, or post fire. Sometimes you might get fire, you know, because of the battery getting on, or our bus collided with the building or something. Sometimes we dash and it comes back. So in that scenario, don't continue flying your drone. Even you have a crash, you should have RTH configured on it and other things, so that it, either it lands on there itself or it comes to the home position or something. Or you may have to terminate your flying. You may have to disarm your drone, or you may have to, trigger whatever the best, safest options are available. You should configure those in your drone, so that you are minimizing as much as possible the risk what you have in your operational activities. Okay, sometimes, we have not encountered these problems currently, but we have seen these in movies happening. Like you are flying a drone and somebody third person takes control of your drone. Okay, so in that hostile remote takeover or control of our pass. Okay, so somebody may take control because you're flying the drone on the same frequency, 2.4 hertz. Okay, if assume that your RC is not binded to a particular drone, what will happen? Anybody could have taken, like you have a toy drone, especially this happens in a toy drone. In a toy drone, there is no binding between the drone and the RC. They are just communicating to each other. Okay, if you have a similar type of RC, the other person, if he gives the signal, the drone will behave with that person also. But the drones what we are flying, like you are flying a DJI drone or you are flying a type certified drone, your drones RC is binded to that particular drone only. So that's why nobody is able to take the control unless there is some hacking or something is happened. Then only you will able to. That is anti-tampering kind of thing. So you need to make sure that you're not allowing anybody to take the control of your drone. So that's why most of the time, you see the canopy of the drone or the flight controller, they are always covered, so you do not have any anti-tampering mechanism or something you can connect and take the control of your drone. You do not have that kind of thing. So they will always put a sticker, they will put some hologram on it, so that you don't open the device and do some tampering into the device and all this thing. The software interface should be used for firmware access protected by password. So you can't just put a cable, like you don't can't put a cable and upgrade the software. So there will be a password when you are doing this activity on a remote control. You will see there is a password to go into the maintenance mode. You can't just simply go and do the software upgrade or software changes, or even hardware also. Like some drones I have seen in some OEM drones, they have put a lock and key to it. Okay, so you can't open the drone on your own. Even the drones, when they manufacture, the screws, what they use, they don't use the standard screws. Either they use a screw with a Allen key kind of thing, so which normally people will not have those tools to open the drones. Okay, so that's how they will not use the standard Phillips screwdriver type of screws and all that, plus minus kind of thing. They will always use the Allen screws or something like that. Threat and error management. Okay, threat and management is nothing but overreaching the safety concept regarding the aviation operations and human performance. So the threat and error management framework is a conceptual model as of now, because it doesn't play much role. This is more perspective from the aviation perspective. It's a conceptual model that assists in understanding from an operations perspective the interrelationship between the safety and the human performance. Like a lot of people, I'm just giving an example. Like if you have gone for a party on a Saturday night, okay, and you have taken heavy drinks and all that thing. you are under the alcohol condition. In that scenario, you should never try to fly a drone. It's completely no no. Same is applicable to aviation. If the pilot is there, he is having a flight next day, so they are not supposed to consume alcohol before, I mean, 8 hours period time. So if he has consumed the alcohol, let's say 2 hours back, they are not supposed to fly the aircraft. At least there should be a difference of 8 hours. Again, it is judgmentable. Like, you may have consumed alcohol, like maybe a one small drink or something like that. But if you are heavily drink, I mean, you can't say that okay, 8 hours I before I have drunk, but now it is almost 8 hours. But you are not in position to fly the aircraft. So you should not do it. Okay? Because it will impact your performance, it will impact, and you are putting the aircraft and the people inside the aircraft at risk. So there are three basic components: threats, errors, undesirable effects, aircraft status. Okay? Threats generally defined an event or error that occurred beyond the influence of the line personnel, increase operational complexities, which must be managed to maintain the margin of safety. So these are the threats. If you are under, like, let's take example, you are under the influence of alcohol, or probably the hostage kind of situations also. Errors generally are defined actions or inactions by a personnel that lead to deviation from organizational operational intentions or exceptions. Like, for example, I know that after every 200 flight, or sorry, 50 flights, I have to do a maintenance. So I have to do maintenance. I cannot ignore those, procedures. Or for example, if my battery is having problem, or my, like, the voltage what I is supposed to measure before the flight, and I ignore that. So those are errors which I am performing, okay, or fault things I am doing. I am doing something wrong. Operational activities what I am supposed to follow on. I am not following those. That could cause errors, and that will multiply the problems. And the third option is undesired state, generally defined as the operational condition where unintended situation, like all of a sudden the temperature increases of the battery or of the flight controller also. Sometimes this happens, or sometimes all of a sudden the gust or the storm or the wind situation changes, or all of a sudden rain comes into the picture. So there you do not have any option, but these are undesired states. So in that scenario, you should see how you can reduce. Immediately, you see that there is some challenge, you should immediately try to land your drone as quickly as possible and bring it to the safety location. So, what kind of could be the emergency situation? How do you elevate? Like as I said, pilot error. It could be heavy wind, loss of altitude, remote control failure. Sometimes compass failure also happens between the, or motor or propeller damage. Sometimes because of the rotation, vibration, or something, your propeller may get chipped up in the flight, and you will order, all of a sudden you will feel your drone is becoming unstable. In that scenario, please put your drone down immediately. Bring your drone into the landing position. Sometimes all of a sudden you're flying in a hot, humid climate. You started at 10 o'clock flying, but by 11:30, as you are continuously flying over the period of time, you start feeling uncomfortable. So in that scenario, or you might encounter some kind of a medical emergency. Okay, all of a sudden you may not feeling better. So that point in time, you should start immediately, bring the down the drone. You should land the drone and stop all your operational activities at that point. So in medical emergency, you should give priority, as because it could harm the drone, it could harm the person or property and all that. Okay. So any questions on risk, threats, errors?
मी ड्रोन घेतलेल्याच्या तिसऱ्या दिवशी क्रॅश केला होता.
Hmm.
आणि क्रॅश केल्यानंतर स्वतः उघडायचा प्रयत्न केला, म्हणजे विंग त्याचे प्रॉपेलर.
Okay.
तर ते मी तोडलं. त्यानंतर 3,000 रुपयाचा फटका पडला मला, पूर्ण लेग बदलायला.
Correct. Correct.
पण दॅट टाइम आय ड्रंक लिटल बिट, नॉट टू मच,
Okay.
but I can't control the joysticks, because there is a गल्ली म्हणू शकतो आपण, छोटीशी होती. तर मग तो अनकंट्रोल झाला माझ्याकडून आणि दॅट टाइम आय डिसाइडेड की फिर से ऐसा नहीं करने का बच्चा है.
Correct. I'll tell you one example of the risk or the fault. Okay, we had a small toy drone at home. Okay, very small. We have just bought, and I was flying it at my home in home. And then my son was also very expert in flying this small drone, so he was flying, and I fly. After I flew, I have flown the drone. He was flying it. I was not. I was doing something else. I was sitting, and he was flying, and he landed that drone on the floor, and he went inside for something else, and he kept the remote control on the table. My daughter came, younger daughter came. She came inside, and she took the remote control. She was very curious about it since
Okay.
his brother was flying, her brother was flying, and so she also wanted to do it. And she saw that I was not also attentive. I was not seeing her. All of a sudden, she just pushed the throttle. So that drone took off. It went to the ceiling and fall down.
Oh God.
Okay, that's the reason because when you land a drone, first thing is you should disarm it. You should either remove the battery. You should not have a position where you can trigger the drone back to flying. If you're not holding the remote in your hand, you should always remove the connections. You should always disable the drone. You not follow that process. That's why that this happened. तो उसका one of the propeller का जो frame था वो टूट गया. So मुझे वो अभी तक मैं वो रिपेयर नहीं कर पाया. I tried to repair it, but I could not repair it. It's just lying like that. So that's always an example for me that you should not leave your drone or remote control like that. Just keep it on your table or something. You should always follow the standard procedure. You put it off, you disconnect, disarm the drone, you remove the battery, and then do whatever other activities you want. When you are doing a drone operations, you should be in complete control. You should be in complete attention to your drone activity. If you don't want to fly drone, you want to do something yet, put it off, remove the battery connection. The safest option. Don't assume that कोई कुछ करेगा नहीं, कुछ नहीं होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा. You should never do that. Even it takes time. You walk to the drone, put it off, remove the battery connection. That's why you see even in the drones, in DJI you will have a power to power of the drone. But in these bigger type certified drones, you do not have a button actually to put off your drone. There is always a connector, a male female connector. You will
हाँ
always
हाँ.
remove it. Physically, you will have disconnection between the battery and the drone.
अच्छा, नॉट लाईक आपला ड्रोन छोटासा आहे म्हणजे माझ्याकडे बॅटरी काढली आपण तसं नाही.
Battery nikala and then you are no not even you're not removing battery, but you have an option ना power on करने का एक button रहता
हाँ हाँ हाँ. येस येस
है.
येस.
Power on करने का button नहीं रहता है drone में. Until there is a button to arm the drone or whatever it is, but there is an option where you completely disconnect your battery.
अच्छा.
Even the battery is there, you still physically disconnect it. Some manufacturers has gone one step just to reduce this. There is a connection in the battery. You can disconnect that, but you don't want to do that every time. तो क्या करते हैं ना, ये जो पार्ट है कनेक्शन का, यहाँ पे ना वो कट मारते हैं और एक सीरीज कनेक्शन ऐसे दो रखते हैं और उसके बीच में एक कनेक्शन डालते हैं. सो अनटिल यू डोंट पुट दैट द कनेक्शन डैम है. सो दैट इज समथिंग कॉल्ड अ सेफ की कॉल. सेफ्टी की बोलते हैं उसको. बट वो नथिंग
हाँ
बट
हाँ.
जस्ट अ सीरीज कनेक्शन. इट इज नॉट either this will be connected, so they will just keep two different. और बीच में आप वो सेफ्टी की डालोगे तभी वो दोनों का कनेक्शन होता है. तो वो आपको सेफ्टी की निकाल दिया. So it is as good as you are physically disconnecting your battery.
ओके. पण त्या दिवसानंतर मी खरंच कानाला खडा लावला की बाबा म्हणजे एकतर कोणाला द्यायचा पण नाही उडवायला ज्याला माहित नाही त्याला, आणि बंद करायचं असेल तर लहान मुलांना बाजूला करा, मोठ्यांना म्हणायचं खाली वाका तरी नाही तर कुठेतरी जा, पण मला खाली घ्यायचा आहे तो आणि मग माझ्याकडेच असतो, मी कुणाला देत नाही.
Correct. That's the safe part. You are responsible for your aircraft. You should not give it to somebody until he knows it is proper and not and all that things.
Yes.
Like for example, when that's what say when you are coming, though you are already flying the drone, but you are not flown this type of drones, or I do not know your flying skills, right? So what I will do is I will always have two remote controls. One master remote control will be always with me. So when you are trying to first time you are going to take off your drone, I will give you the slave control to you. So the moment I feel you are not able to do things properly, I will take the control of the drone and I will try to control the drone. So first day is always I will be always the master and you will be always flying in a slave mode. Okay. As I gain the confidence I will give the master control to one of you. So you will play the role between each of you, co-pilot and co-pilot. That is master and slave. That way you will fly the drones.
आणि दरवेळेस कसं आता शूटला गेलो ना, वेडिंग मोस्टली मी वेडिंग करतो. वेडिंग शूट किंवा लग्नाचं असतं. तर दॅट टाइम म्हातारी माणसं,
Ah,
त्यानंतर आणि लहान मुलं, ते खूप क्युरिओसिटी त्यांच्यात असते की अरे हे काय उडतंय.
especially the kids. The
हा.
older people will not run here and there, but kids will run below the drone. Drone के नीचे भाग के पकड़ने का. If you are flying very low to the ground, they will try to catch hold it also. So you need to
ऍक्च्युली
fly at least 8 to 10 feet high above the ground. Okay, the more low you try to fly, kids are very curious कि उसको पकड़ने का जाए या उसको कुछ करे. I have seen एक जगह पे हम लोग फ्लाई कर रहे थे. ऐसे ही मतलब प्रॉपर्टी का शूट कर रहे थे. तो वो प्रॉपर्टी में बच्चे थे थोड़े बहुत. तो एक बच्चे ने क्या किया, मतलब बॉल फेंक दिया ड्रोन के ऊपर. और
बापरे.
लकी मतलब लकीली बोल नहीं सकते, अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई वुड से उसका निशाना बराबर ड्रोन पे लग गया.
अरे बाप.
ड्रोन जाके गिर गया. लकीली वो ग्रासी एरिया था तो ड्रोन गिरा लेकिन कुछ डैमेज नहीं हुआ. आई मीन somehow it fall, but there was no break, wear or tear or break, कुछ नहीं हुआ. मतलब पता नहीं उसने भी मारा बॉल और बराबर जाके ड्रोन को लग गया. So that time we always make sure that when we are flying the drones, इसीलिए ना दो लोग क्यों लगते हैं ड्रोन के, बिकॉज जो ड्रोन फ्लाई कर रहा है ना उसका ध्यान सिर्फ ड्रोन पे है. उसको आजू बाजू कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है. ही इज नॉट सीइंग एनीथिंग व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. So the second person who is there, who is a co-pilot, who is just observer, who is monitoring, his duty is to make sure that there is no untoward happening. He is monitoring the operations of the pilot. He is monitoring the drone and he is seeing the surrounding also, because he can afford, बोलते हैं ना, pilot do not move his eyes from the drone. नजर हटी दुर्घटना घटी kind of thing. So when pilot is flying, he cannot see other things. He is only focusing on the drone or he is focusing on the remote. Whereas this co-pilot can take a chance. He can see here and there and all that thing. So he is also equally responsible, or he is assisting pilot to do the thing properly. That's why in aviation also there are always two people flying the aircraft.
ते माझ्याजवळ 2 वेळा झालंय असं की मी फ्लाय करतोय, मी शॉट घेतोय. मी आता रिमोट मध्ये बघतोय कारण की माझे RC2 आहे, त्याला स्क्रीन आहे ना.
Correct, correct.
तर तो शॉट घेतोय मी. तर त्याला म्हटलं काजूचं झाड होतं, त्याला म्हटलं बघ, तू तिकडे बघ, मी खाली शॉट घेतोय. तर ह्याने लक्ष न देता हा बल तिकडेच बघत बसला. ड्रोन झाडात गेला पानांमध्ये
Okay.
आणि त्याला मी परत खेचलं बाहेर. तर बाहेर खेचल्यानंतर तो एका जाळीत गेला आणि मग क्रॅश झाला. मी म्हटलं अरे तुला मी बघायला सांगितलं की बाबा माझं लक्ष खाली आहे.
Hmm.
आणि मग असं हे 2दा झालंय माझ्या बरोबर असं.
Correct, correct, correct. So
तर
in that drone, you do not have option to set the obstacle or anything like that. I mean,
त्याला 4च सेन्सर आहेत ना, म्हणजे पुढे 2 मागे 2, साईडला नाहीयेत.
side ला नाही. Okay, okay.
जसं मिनी 4ला आलेत ना, मिनी 4ला कसे आलेत, थोडे असे तिरके आलेत.
Angle मध्ये angle, so it covers larger area, 120
हा
degrees.
हा
correct.
हा हा. तर माझ्याकडे 3 आहे, त्यामुळे ते झालं नाही. आणि मग 2 वेळा पाडलाय मी असा.
So damage, you would have incurred or damages also.
डॅमेज फक्त हे झाले, पंख झाले, म्हणजे प्रोपेलर.
Problems. So how much the propeller
बाकी
cost actually for this drone?
काय काय
How much does the propeller cost for this drone?
₹700 समथिंग. आत्ताच बघितलं, मी पण चेक केलं. ₹800, ₹700.
Okay, okay. Still it is manageable
हा.
compared to the drone cost. नाही तर काही काही जसे आमचे प्रॉब्लेम आहे ते 3,000 रुपये येतात, 3-3,500 येतात. एक
मी हे Amazon वर चेक केलं. DJIच्या साईट वरती चेक करायला हवं कितीला आहे.
पण more or less सेमच असणार. Amazon is selling the DJI propeller at that cost, then it would be same.
अच्छा.
Okay. So I think we have covered our day to ninth module, that is risk assessment analysis. So I think it's 1:40 now almost. 10 minutes भी हो गए हमारा. So we'll go for a lunch break. We'll come back at 2:40. Right, Jagan?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll come back at 2:40. I will disconnect right now because unnecessary 1 hour I don't want to put it on. We'll connect back at 2:40.
Sure.
ओके ओके.